in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to bring to you the latest topic every day. And today, as you all know, that our Indian cricket team is in Australia. So today after at 1:40 p.m. today only, the first T20 match is going to be played. So we have to say to them, Chak de India. That is the topic. But before I will come to the topic, I would like to inform you that today the country is celebrating Indian Navy Day. Navy Day in India is celebrated on 4th December every year to recognize the achievements and role of Indian Navy to the country. 4th December was chosen as on that day in 1971 during Operation Trident. The Indian Navy sank 4 Pakistani vessels, including PNS Khyber, killing hundreds of Pakistani Navy personnel. On this day, those who martyred in the Indo-Pakistan War of 1971 are also remembered. The Indian Navy has an important role in securing the marine borders of the country, as well as enhancing the international relations of India through seaport visits, joint exercise, humanitarian committee reliefs, and so on. The modern Indian Navy has undergone speedy innovation in order to improve its position in the Indian Ocean region. The strength of the Indian Navy includes over 67,000 personnel and about 150 ships and submarines. We wish you all a very happy Indian Navy Day. Now coming to our topic, that is Chak de India. The India cricket team are currently touring Australia from November 2020 to January 2021 to play 4 tests, 3 one-day internationals ODIs and 3 2020 international matches. India and Australia are perhaps the cricketing giants of today's world. The 2 national teams faced each other for the first time back in 1947 for a test match. That match was won by Australia. Over the years, India and Australia have faced each other many times. The test series will form part of the inaugural 2019-2021 ICC World Test Championship, and the ODI series formed part of the inaugural 2020-2022 ICC Cricket World Cup Super League. In February 2020, the Board of Control of Cricket of India, BCCI, announced that they wanted to play one of the test matches as a day-night fixture. On 22nd October 2020, the tour was approved by the NSW government, with Sydney and Canberra confirmed as the hosts of the limited over matches. 4 days later, Cricket Australia confirmed the fixture of the tour. On 9th November 2020, the BCCI announced that India's captain Virat Kohli had been granted paternity leave and would leave the tour after the first test match, with Ajinkya Rahane leading the team in Kohli's absence. Australia won the first and second ODI matches by 66 and 51 runs, respectively, to take an unaccessible lead in the series. India won the third ODI match by 13 runs, with Australia winning the series 2-1. Now from today, India will be playing 3 T20 international matches with Australia. The first T20 international will be played at Manuka Oval, Canberra, on December 4th, that is today, from 1:40 p.m. IST. That is, say about 3 hours from now. The second T20 international will be played at SCG Sydney on December 6th, that also at 1:40 p.m. IST. The third T20 international will be again played at SCG Sydney on December 8th, also at the time at 1:40 p.m. IST, that is Indian Standard Time. Indian cricket team lost 2 high-scoring encounters at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but they narrowly avoided the whitewash when they won the match by 13 runs at the Manuka Oval in Canberra. With this win, the Indian cricket team head into the T20 International Series high on confidence. Both the sides consist of players who have performed brilliantly in IPL 2020. India and Australia have played 2020 internationals, with Virat Kohli's team winning 11 clashes, while Australia have won 8. One match each have ended with no result and abandoned. India have won 4 out of 6 T20 internationals in Australia since 2016, and they will be favorites heading into the series. Australia, on the other hand, have won 3 out of the last 5 T20 internationals against India in 2 previous series. Now, to discuss about the today's performance or the future performance of T20 international, we have a very elite panel with us, 2 people who are very much expert in this field. And I would like to invite my first guest. He is Mr. Surendra Khanna. Mr. Surendra Khanna is the member of Indian Premier League IPL Governing Council. Mr. Khanna is the former Indian cricket player. When the selectors decided to drop Syed Kirmani for the tour of England in 1979, Mr. Khanna was given the big break. He was the designated wicketkeeper for India in the 1979 World Cup. He played in all the 3 World Cup games. He was in the Indian team for the 1984 Asia Cup held at Sharjah. He scored half centuries in low-scoring encounters against Sri Lanka and Pakistan. India won the tournament, and Mr. Surendra Khanna was named man of the series. He was a member of the Indian team that went to Pakistan in October the same year. That was his last international tournament. Between 1991 and 1992, he was the professional for Stewart's Melville Royal High Seas in Edinburgh, Scotland. During the 1991 session, he scored 1,098 runs at an average of 91.5. Nowadays, he is a cricketing expert of All India Radio, and I also heard 2 days back on the Doordarshan, giving his expert opinions. And today, he will be giving his expert opinions for our matches. I would like to invite him. I would like to invite Mr. Surendra Khanna for our show. Welcome, Mr. Surendra Khanna, on our show.
Hello,
Mr.
good morning, Lal Saab.
Good morning,
It's a wonderful morning. Very cold in Delhi. How is it over there?
Oh, it is quite warm here in Mangalore, Mr. Khanna.
I think the people from South India will do pretty well in Canberra, where the team is playing. It's going to be very hot over there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Now, Mr. Khanna, as you have given, I heard yourself when you were talking on the Doordarshan as an expert, and you told at the time before the game started, and you said that we must not overreact, because the other panelist and the anchor of the Doordarshan was talking about the defeat which we have faced in the first 2 international, and you were continuously saying, please don't overreact. The game belongs to the person who is going to bat first, and in case if India is going to win the toss, and if India is going to bat, you will see the result. Although the other panelist was having some apprehension, but you were very, very clear, and India won the match. So we must say that you are a lucky mascot for the Indian team. And today again, you are on the global TV, V4 News, and other channels. And before the start of the match, because match is going to start at 1:40, our program is going to end at about 12 o'clock. So now we would like to know from you, first, anything if you want to say about the 3 internationals which we have played, ODIs, and then definitely we would like to hear from you about the T20 matches, which is going to start from today. Mr. Surendra Khanna, please.
Well, thank you very much, Lal Saab, for your kind words. There are a lot of experts, cricket experts, we get the right. We made the same mistakes when we were playing. The current cricketers do that. And when we have the mic, we start criticizing them. We got to realize that player is a human being. He's very sensitive. No player walks onto the park. If he's bowling, he doesn't want to get hit. if he doesn't take wickets, or if he picks up wickets, he wants to pick wickets. कोई ऐसा खिलाड़ी नहीं होता जो परफॉर्म ना करना चाहता. And when he goes to bat, he wants to score runs and play well for the country and help the team with his performances and help the team to win. So everyone tries hard. But what happens is, in the first two games, what I observed that the mindset of our team was, first you have traveled from Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah to Australia. So the time zone changes as well. And you've been in quarantine, 14 days. Well, they were in the bio bubble. From one bio bubble to another bio bubble is that you're in the room and to the ground, and from the ground to your hotel room. So it's a very difficult kind of situation. And as an ex-cricketer, I understand that. And I was in Dubai during the IPL, Sharjah, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. I had, observed very closely that this takes a toll on the psyche of the sportsman. You got to be normal, and then you go and show your talent to the people. And one heartening thing what I observed in the Australian series so far is the advent of spectators. When we had the IPL in UAE, there were no spectators. But here in Australia, spectators have been allowed by the Australian Cricket Board, and the Indian Cricket Board has also agreed to that. It's a very heartening thing. But I would only like to emphasize that the corona pandemic has really shocked the world, and a lot of people are dying. So we need to use the, uh, the sanitizer and the mask which I am wearing, and now I can take that off, and the social distancing. So all those, if it's a family, they're sitting close by, doesn't matter, but they can wear the mask. It's very, very important. A message, social message, which goes from when you watch the stars or people on the television, they should observe this. This is very, very vital and important during the pandemic time. As far as our cricket is concerned, first two matches, all credit to Australia for outclassing India in all the three departments. I can't be overcritical, but the captain and coach, the team thought over it, and they came with different plans. And I was always of the opinion that if you put runs on the board, it's a different ball game. From 20 overs to 100 overs, 20 and 20, 40 overs to 100 overs. When you are fielding first, and the long boundaries in Australia, you made to throw, you made to run, you made with 374 and 390 plus scores by Australia, you have the tired legs when you go into bat. But still, we scored over 300 plus. That was a very heartening thing. So I was of the opinion, as a cricketer, I thought if we bat first and put some pressure on Australia, so the question of winning the toss comes. So law of averages, I thought out of three, Kohli will win one. And I was lucky with that prediction. He won and we won the match as well. But all credit to Hardik Pandya and Jadeja for putting that great partnership. Like, oxygen is a very important part in pandemic. So their partnership was like an oxygen to the Indian dressing room. And then 300 plus on the board, Australia came into bat. There was something in the wicket as well, because there was a storm in Canberra prior to the match the previous day. I'm sure they must have covered the wicket. Some moisture must have been there. We saw the Australian bowlers also troubling Kohli, the Daputan Green. He dug the ball in and made the ball seam off the wicket, and Kohli was thrice hanging his bat. So that gave me the confidence, and I'm sure that must have given Kohli and his team the confidence, Bumrah and all, that once they have 302 on the board, they're going to test Finch and Party, and Warner was not there. तो कुल मिला के परफॉर्मेंस टीम की है. हमने अपनी जो है समझ के हिसाब से अंदाजा लगाया, और वो भारतीय टीम ने, द इंडियन टीम, proved me right and proved themselves right that 3 matches, the side which won the toss won the match. Australia won the toss in the first 2 games. India won the toss in the third to salvage some pride. They played some very good cricket, fighting cricket, and that momentum, I'm sure, will help them in the T20s. But T20s, again, is a different ball game. And Australians, I must say one thing about them. In their own den, when kangaroo's tail is up, it's very difficult to catch them. That's the phrase. So it's very, very vital that we don't take them lightly and don't be overconfident that we beat them in the last one day. We're going to win. You got to play 40 overs, 20 overs batting, 20 overs fielding, bowling with precision. You know, outclass them in every department. Your fielding has to be top class, like we did in the third match. You're bowling in the right areas, not too many wides, no balls, the lesser extras, and batsman who gets in, he should score a big one. He shouldn't let go of the opportunity that he gets a quick 30 and throws his wicket. The shot selection has to be very good. And I hope that we've played good cricket in IPL, our boys, and that will hold them good in the T20s. I wish them luck, and we got to see what kind of wicket they play on. Canberra, I'm sure they know the surface since they played the last game over there a day before. So they'll be well prepared. So I'm looking forward to the encounter. It's a wonderful beginning and it's a long tour. They need to keep themselves fresh, fit mentally and physically. And this bio bubble thing is that puts a lot of pressure on the cricketers. We must understand as spectators and supporters of Indian team and Australian team. Both the teams go through this. It is a very, very stringent regimen, I tell you, that when you're living at home, it's a different ball game. You're free in the evening, but here it's like a jail. From the ground straight away to the four walls of your room. It can be very, very, heartbreaking at times as well if you're not doing well. When you're performing well, everything is all right. So I look forward to. Arijit will have his own views, He always comes up with the brilliant perception. His perspective, I respect. Being a फौजी, आपने नेवी डे की बात की, उन सबको मुबारक. कल वकीलों का दिन था, नेशनल लॉयर्स डे था. तो हर दिन जो है किसी भगवान का होता है और किसी ना किसी, और ये भगवान ही होता है. जो हमारा काम है वो हमारा भगवान है. So I wish them Navy and services all the very best. और अपनी इंडियन टीम को कि वो अच्छा खेलें, and we have a great encounter to watch in the afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Khanna, for giving such a heartening and positive views of about the today's. That's why our topic is Chak the India. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he's Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh. Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh is the former Ranji Trophy cricketer, served in Indian Air Force for 24 years. He commanded 4 Air Force units, holding sensitive appointments at top of the line fighter bases close to the Indian border, both in the Northeast and in the Western Desert. He is qualified coach from the BCCI National Cricket Academy. He was the coach of India under 19 Indian cricket team, where he coached many young players who are playing in IPL as well as in this present tour of India, Australia, and that like KL Rahul and Karun Nair, etc. He was BCCI match referee for domestic matches. He is former secretary, Air Force Sports Board. He was closely associated with the conduct of elite sports events like the Military World Games and Commonwealth Games as Chief of Mission of Indian Armed Forces Sports Contingents as Military World Championship overseas. He was the Asian representative on jury of appeal drawn from the 4 continents at Military World Championships. He was the chief operating officer of one of the biggest and best boarding schools of the country, where he also headed an academy of sporting excellence for young children with 35 trained sports coaches, including foreign coaches. His achievements are: he played 5 sessions of Ranji Trophy between 1987-88 and 1994-95. One amongst a handful of brothers who hold an international record of having scored hundreds together in the same innings of a first-class match. He captained the Indian Air Force cricket team. He represented the East Zone University's team in the Vizzy. He recently wrote in one leading English magazine about India versus Australia one-day series. I quote, even though the two captains were on the same team in the IPL, a yawning gap seemed to have opened up between the sides by the end of the second ODI as India looked beaten and devastated, proving yet again that while IPL T20s may have intensity and top class players, an ODI with its 100 overs, not to speak of a test match, is a completely different ball games when compared to performing in a stateless T20, unquote. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Arijit Ghosh on my show. Mr. Ghosh, you have heard what our legend Mr. Khanna has spoken. And I consider him as a lucky mascot for us because he was the person who was speaking before the third ODI and we won that match. So I'm sure that today also he must be a lucky mascot for us and we must win the match, which is very important. And as he has mentioned very clearly, because of the from one bubble to the other bubble, and because of the time zone difference and the long boundaries, and because we are played after the quarantine, the lockdown period, first only the T20, and then going for the 100 overs match, it's not that easy to accommodate and to become so that we can play the natural game of ours. Now, we would like to know from you, although the topic is Chak the India, your views about today's and the future T20 international match between India and Australia. Wing Commander Ajit Ghosh, please.
Good morning, Lal Saab. Thank you for having me on the show. Good morning, Khanna sir. Pleasure to hear from you as usual. A very warm uh, welcome and good morning to all the viewers, and a very happy Navy Day to all my friends from the Indian Navy. I completely agree with what Khanna sir said about T20 being a completely different ball game from the one-day internationals that we were playing just now. And as he said, I mean, there is always a tendency to criticize when you don't do well, and that had happened to the Indian team because we'd lost two matches by big margins, and we were outplayed in both the matches, and naturally a billion people in India have pinned their hopes on this Indian team doing well, and all of us were probably a little disappointed. But it's very important to understand that, as Khanna sir also said, that cricketers are all human beings. It's not that if you're a highly paid professional, it doesn't automatically make you a superhuman. So if you have gone from one environment to another environment, you will take some time to settle down into the new environment, and it will take you a little bit of time to get into the rhythm, into the flow of things, which is what happened on this tour. In earlier days, when in the pre-corona, overseas tours that the Indian team used to go on, or any overseas visiting team for that matter, there were always a lot of warm-up games that you played before the actual international matches happened. So you played against state sides, you played against university sides, the Indian university team, or the combined universities or whatever, and you played against various state sides. So there was a gradual easing into the tour for a visiting team. So, like if the Indian team is visiting Australia, they were given an opportunity to get into the Australian way of things. They had the time and the opportunity to play at different grounds against different kinds of opposition, and that gave them the opportunity to find themselves as players to perform at their best when the international matches came up. So usually the tour would start with a test match or whatever it is, and so you had that opportunity to play yourself into the tour. Now, in these post COVID-19 tours, what has happened is they become so tight that you just go there, you finish your quarantine, and you're straight away playing the first one-day international or the first test match or whatever it is. So you're directly going into an international match without having played any kind of cricket for the previous 7 or 8 or 9 months. Now, in the case of this Indian team, they had not played a 50-over match or a 100 overs match, as Khanna sir says, in a day, uh, for over 8, 9 months. So for 9 months, you've not played that kind of cricket. You've only played T20s, which is the shortest form of the game, and which requires a different kind of preparation, mental preparation, physical preparation, a different kind of mindset altogether when you're playing. So to make that adjustment from a T20 to a 50 over game, it takes a bit of time. And that is what had happened to this Indian team. And on top of that, the Australians looked at that as an opportunity. They were playing in their own home conditions. They were familiar with the pitches, with the environment, with the crowds, everything. They had the backing of the home crowd as well as the home conditions. So that makes a huge difference when you're playing uh, overseas. So they had also played 3 one-day internationals against England 2 months ago. So they had a preparation of playing longer matches. Whereas this Indian cricket team, they had just played T20s, and that too for different teams. They had not played together as a team. So they were playing in the IPL where one player was playing for one franchisee, another player was playing for another franchisee. So there was no real time which they got to spend together as a team, which is very important in a team game, which a lot of people have overlooked completely. So you need to play together as a team to be able to perform together as a team. So even that was missing. Firstly, they had not played long format cricket till now, and secondly, as I said, they'd gone from one environment to a completely different environment. They had not had the luxury of having played these warm-up matches, these lead-in games, which gives you a time to settle down into the tour and then perform at your best when the international matches come up. And as I said, the biggest thing was that they're not played together as a team. So all these 4 factors combined, they made a huge difference when and mind you, the Australians had done all of that. They were playing in their home conditions. They had played one-day internationals before, and they were coming off the IPL, most of their players, where they had the physical and mental preparation of playing cricket once again. So they were on a very strong wicket when it came to the first 2 matches. And like Khanna sir again said that day on the Doordarshan interview, pressure in cricket is something which does different things to different people. It makes the same match, the same opposition, the same ground, the same bowlers look completely different when you're playing without pressure and when you're playing under pressure. It's a completely different ball game. So in the first 2 ODIs, what happened was Australia got off to a flying start. They put on 156 in the first for no loss in the first ODI, and 143 for no loss in the second ODI in 20-25 overs or so. And then Steve Smith walked in at that stage, and then within 64, 66, he took 66 balls to make his 100 in the first one, and 66 balls to make his 100 in the second one. But when you're walking into bat at 150 for no loss or 150 for one, it is a completely different ball game from when you're walking into bat at 0 for 1 or 0 for 2. So that pressure does wonders, and to that extent, we had lost the toss in the first 2 internationals, and the Australians, they executed their game plan perfectly. They did not lose wickets in the first 25 overs. They put on wonderful opening partnerships, and then in the middle overs, they had Steve Smith coming in and playing those superb knocks that he did. And then, so by the time they reached the 40th over, they were in a position where they had around 280 runs on the board for the loss of 1 wicket or 2 wickets, which was a perfect platform for someone like Glenn Maxwell to come in and unleash a blitzkrieg in the last 10 overs, which he did. And he scored at the rate of 14 runs in an over in the first ODI, and around the same in the second ODI as well. So the last 10 overs in the first ODI went for 110 or 112. And in the second ODI, it went for 114. So that kind of run scoring, it just takes the match away from the opposition. And that is what happened to India. The score which they were chasing, the target which they were chasing, was just too big. And when you're chasing that kind of a target, you are constantly under pressure right from the first ball onwards to keep scoring continuously. There is no time to adjust, no time to settle in, no time to do anything. Because if you play 6 dot balls, What that does to the scoring rate is it immediately pushes the scoring rate. If you play 2 or 3 overs like that, the scoring rate goes over 10. And this is over a period of 40 or 45 overs. It's not just, a scoring rate above 10 for a period of 5 overs or 4 overs is completely different from a scoring rate above 10 and asking rate above 10 over 40 overs. So that puts a lot of pressure, and you have to keep playing shots. You have to keep taking risks. And when you take risks, you'll have to, there's always a chance that you'll get out. And that is what happened to India in these matches. And they lost wickets, at regular intervals, and finally fell short of the target. Because if you're chasing a target of over 350 plus in a match, in any match, you need at least two batsmen to score 100, or somebody to score a big 100 and somebody to score an 80 or something like that. And there would be another one or two partnerships of 45, 50, 60 runs which would be needed if you are to actually reach that kind of a target. Now that did not happen, because in both these matches we had just two batsmen who scored in the region of in the first match, Pandya scored 90 and Shikhar Dhawan scored 75. In the second match, the same thing happened. Again, Kohli scored 89 and Rahul scored 75. But the remaining batsmen in these matches were all, getting out for scores around 30, 35, 20. And that was not enough to get us close to the target which the Australians had set us. Now, when it came to the third match, all of that changed. We won the toss, as Khanna sir had predicted that day, and it put a lot of it became a different ball game, because we batted first. We had the luxury of setting a target. We made a mess of it actually. By the end of the 31st over in the third ODI, we were 158 for 5, and we were again staring at a low score, and we would have probably lost that match too. But for that amazing partnership, which I personally think should go down as one of the probably the best counter attacks ever launched in ODI history. It was a great partnership, 150 runs unbeaten for the sixth wicket between Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja. And it took us from 158 for 5 to over 300 runs. And mind you, we scored 300 runs in all the three matches that we played, which is great, as Surendra sir had said. So that left Australia under pressure for the first time in the series. They had not been under pressure because as I said, the opening stand was 150 runs. The next batsman was coming in at 150 for 1. He could play his shots. And by the time he departed, last 10 overs left, the score was some 270 or 280 for 1 or 2 or whatever it is. And at that stage, the next batsman can really go, in sixth gear probably, which is what Glenn Maxwell did. But here, you were facing a target of 300 plus, and within the first 5 overs, you had lost one of your top batsmen. Labuschagne was out for 7, and then Smith followed for 7. So that put huge pressure on the Australian batting, because these were the two best batsmen that they had probably in the lineup in the absence of Warner. And both of them had gone for 7 apiece. And again, that in the first 2 ODIs, we had not been able to take any early wickets. So we were not able to make any inroads into the Australian batting. In this one, because of the pressure probably, and probably our own luck having changed a little bit, we were able to take those early wickets and put the Australian batting under pressure. And from then onwards, it was just the same thing which had happened to India. Wickets fell at regular intervals because of the pressure. And at the end of the 31st over, Australia found themselves in exactly the same position as India at 158 for 5. And from then onwards, there was a partnership between Alex Carey and Glenn Maxwell for the 6th wicket, which looked dangerous for a while, but we were able to, because of a mix-up and a run-out, that partnership was broken. And then later on, the biggest change that happened in this game was that Jasprit Bumrah rediscovered his finesse with the ball again. And that Yorker, which he bowled to Maxwell, cannoning the ball into the base of his stumps at 146 kilometers per hour, I think was probably the turning point of the match. So once Maxwell was cleaned up, it was just a matter of time, and India went from strength to strength, and they won this very well-deserved victory, which, in my opinion, was not just about pride, because pride, of course, you had lost the one-day series, you needed to win at least one match to salvage some pride out of it. But more importantly, this match, this victory has kept the interest and the competitiveness of this series alive. Because if we had lost this third international, in my opinion, the tour would have been as good as over. In the first 3 days of the tour, first 4 days of the tour, the 2 month tour would have been over, because the competitive interest of the tour would have been lost, and it would have been a huge psychological setback for India, having lost 3 matches in a row. But that has changed, thankfully, with this victory. And now we are back on level terms with the Australians. And if I may say so, in this T20 series, I think we start as favorites, because probably with our experience of our recent T20 matches and the overall performance of the Indian team in T20s in the last few years, I think we start as favorites in this series. So if we can win this, or do well in this at least, we would be in a great position when the test matches begin. So that's my view on what has happened so far.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ghosh, Wing Commander Ghosh. Although they say nothing succeeds like success. Now, the thing is, the series won by the Australia, so they are successful. But the last ODI won by us, by the country, India, so we are also successful. And as the Wing Commander says that now our morals are very high. Now, I would not like to summarize the thing, otherwise Mr. Khanna, which he has complained last time that I talks too much, I have to give the privilege to him that he should talk much. And both of you have said that critics always criticize, but our role as a media has to ask the question. Otherwise, if we have to praise only, then their interest will lose. So I have to ask some odd questions. First, my question goes to Mr. Khanna. Mr. Khanna, please unmute yourself. I'm asking a question to you now. The question is, you said that Indian cricketers have to travel from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah to Australia, but many of the Australian players are also there. So it means it was the same for both of them. Secondly, because I want a club question in this segment, because the next segment will be about, we will be talking about the future, that is today's and this thing. Secondly, there is a criticism of our cricket captain, and done by none other than a very important cricketer as well as a politician, Mr. Gautam Gambhir. And he said that the mistake committed by Mr. Kohli was that he has taken the bowlers, he has not giving the full chance to the bowlers. After 2 overs, he has replaced them, and he was doing it like he was playing in a T20 match. Now, two things for you, or you want to say anything, please reply, and so that our viewers will come to know this type of uncertainty, because for the first time, a senior cricketer, previous cricketer, as well as a politician, if he says something, there might be some weightage as the public perception is. But we would like to know, after you are also a very, very senior player and you have far more experience than anyone else, we would like to know whether this concept or this perception is correct or not, that Mr. Kohli has not performed as he was supposed to do, as far as the captainship is concerned, on these two ODIs. Mr. Surendra Khanna, please.
Lal Sahab, I think I have spoken enough about our performance in the first two games, and we won the toss and everything went all right. Captaincy bhi achhi ho gayi, बैटिंग भी अच्छी हो गई, बॉलिंग भी अच्छी होगी, फील्डिंग भी अच्छी होगी, रिजल्ट भी अच्छा हो गया. तो मेरे ख्याल से ओवर क्रिटिकल जो मैंने वर्ड यूज किया है, वी शुड नॉट बी ओवर क्रिटिकल. वी हैव मेड द सेम मिस्टेक्स व्हेन वी वर प्लेइंग इन द मिडल. नाउ व्हेन वी हैव द राइट टू राइट अ कॉलम, or we are speaking in some channel or on All India Radio, or like we are discussing today as well. When I said going from one bubble to another, from UAE, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah to Australia, it was for both the teams. So degree of difficulty was for both the team players. But Australians are playing at home. Let's not forget that. They're born and brought up in those on those pitches. where there is extra bounce, extra pace, and they are tough nuts. A strong cricketer like Kohli, if he was an Australian, they'll call him a tiger. He has the eye of a tiger, strength of a tiger, will of a tiger. You know, that's the phrase they use. For Pandya, they will use that phrase. And I think the defining moment for me, winning the toss fine, losing 5 wickets, that's part of cricket because there was something in the wicket for the seamers. Pandya and Jadeja showed a lot of character. The need of the hour was to not lose the wicket and score the runs, which is a very, very difficult proposition. I would like the listeners and the viewers to understand there was no recognized batsman after them. And the main batsman got out. They had the responsibility to score runs as well as retain their wickets, which is a very, very difficult situation to be in. And I must give credit to both of them for showing that maturity. Their running between wickets was outstanding. Hardik Pandya normally plays in the air. He only hit 1 6, played 76 balls, scored 92 not out, 7 or 8 boundaries, and the running between the wickets. Jadeja hit 3 6s, 4 boundaries. There, like in bowling, we use a phrase that fast bowlers bowl well in tandem, and spinners also bowl well in tandem, like Zampa and Agar did for Australia. 10 overs, 42 runs, 10 overs, 45 runs, or 23 dot balls as well. But here, Pandya and Jadeja were outstanding. And that partnership, when it happened, it gave that oxygen to the Indian dressing room. Their body language, which wasn't very good in the first 2 games, we were very critical of them, everyone. I wasn't, because I knew if we bat first, we put 300 on the board, Australians will be struggling as well. Our bowlers will be fresh. They will be pounding on them. And when you have runs to defend, it becomes a different ball game. And the result happened. So we should not harp too much on that. This present circumstances, overall, the situation of pandemic corona, it's a very, very difficult situation to play sports in. And it's very heartening that 10, 15, 20,000 people, I don't know the exact number, how many have been allowed by the Australian Cricket Board. They are coming in, and they also add a bit of oxygen to the cricketers, those who perform on the ground, in form of cheering for them. Sometimes when you are down on the boundary and somebody says a few good things, a few bad things, they charge you. And you are able to perform better because after bowling, you have to go back to the fine leg or the third man where you're fielding. And overall atmosphere over there and the momentum we have gained by this win will do wonders. And as far as somebody criticizing Kohli and Indian team, I would say that we should support our cricketers in this special circumstances that they have gone to play cricket for India. We should support both the teams, and we have played this game enough to know that what we go through when we play in the middle. It's very easy to criticize. It's very difficult to go and perform when you don't play any practice matches before playing the one days or the T20s. Normally, when you tour abroad, you get to play 2-3 practice matches to acclimatize yourself to the pitches. You may practice any amount in the nets. You may train any amount in the gym. But when you come in the middle, the intensity of competing is very, very high. So there is chance of injury as well, So I personally feel that we give the boys some time, this momentum with the victory. They will do well in the T20s. And then we have the 4 test matches as well. It's a long tour. And Australians, Lal साहब, मैं आपको एक बात बता दूं, जैसे पाकिस्तान और इंडिया का होता है, हम अगर पाकिस्तान जाते हैं या दुबई में भी खेलें, शारजा में, अगर हम वहां पे हारते थे मैच, तो देन लॉरिये और ये जो है ना, दे रब इट इन. Australians भी जो हैं, if you don't win in Australia, the hotel you go to, the taxi you sit in, the coach driver, they will all rub it in. It becomes very difficult. Not only on the ground you hear their remarks, which are in friendly nature, but they really rub you hard. So it was a great win. Like Arijit also said, the tour would have been very, very difficult for Indian cricketers. With this win, Australians will be under pressure as well. So we look forward to some exciting cricket. And
Okay.
stage is yours, Lal Saab. I just
Okay.
made that
Okay.
remark jokingly.
No. So
You control it well.
I'm also returning this in joking in lighter vein only. Thank you very much, Mr. Khanna. Now my question to Wing Commander Ghosh. Wing Commander Ghosh, again a question which I have to ask. Otherwise, the question is: you said that we have gone there without any practice. Do you think BCCI failed to provide such type of atmosphere when they can provide there in Dubai, when the Australia? Why not a bubble was created in India, and the players should have given a practice matches here in that bubble, allowed them to play a 1 month prior to going to IPL or going to this Australian tour. Then only they should have allowed, number one. Number two, when this itinerary was fixed and when they were knowing that there is a COVID thing is there, why they have fixed the T20, why they have fixed the ODI first, why not the T20 when both the players of the Australia and Indian were playing at IPL and they were going after playing the T20. We should have played T20 first and then ODI and then the test match. Instead of ODI first, then now T20 and then now we are going for the test match. And the third question, I want to club it so that now next segment I will not talk about this. The injury of Rohit Sharma. Once it was declared that Rohit Sharma is injured, he is unfit to play in the cricket, our Australia tour. But he was seen in the IPL final. Do you think money is more important than the nation pride? Mr. Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, please.
Coming to that first question of yours regarding what the BCCI should have done with regard to the preparation of the Indian team prior to this tour. You see, practice matches, they were played. They have played because in every training session of a team, you have something called as a match simulation. So where a situation, two batsmen are batting together and there are 11 fielders who are playing and it's like a normal match. But it's a simulated match environment where you're told that, okay, you have to score 30 runs or 40 runs in the next 5 overs to win this game. And there are 11 fielders who are there on the ground and the bowlers are bowling at you. But that, it may be like a match simulation, but that doesn't actually give you the real feel, the intensity, the competitiveness of a real match. So it was not possible for the Indian team to play these matches. They played a lot of these match simulations. They've had a lot of these match simulation sessions. They played amongst themselves. They made why touring parties are so huge nowadays. The Indian team in Australia, there are 32 members in it. Usually in earlier days when a team went overseas, there would be maybe 16 people or 15 people in a touring party. Now you have 32, 33 people or even more in a touring party. Why that is happening is, of course, nowadays there are different teams for different formats. That is one reason. The other reason is that you need to play your matches amongst yourselves only because you cannot play outside because of the COVID situation. And so you make up your own teams, 5 people from this side, 5 people from that side, and you make up an 11 and you play against each other. But those matches, again, are not of the same intensity, not of the same competitiveness as a match which you would be playing against a team from outside. So even though we played all those matches, the BCCI made all those arrangements for the team for playing those practice matches, but they were not of that intensity which would prepare a team for a one-day international or a test match. So that's the reason why we keep on saying that this team was short of match practice and they didn't. What we mean is that they did not play competitive matches. They played matches amongst themselves. They played practice matches. But competitive matches are a completely different ball game. Again, as I said, like if you're going to bat at 150 for 1 and you're going to bat at 0 for 2, there are two completely different ball games. Even though the match is being played on the same ground with the same opposition, the same bowlers are bowling at you in the same circumstances, probably environment. Even then, it's just because the score line is different, the pressure is different, it becomes a different ball game. So these matches, the practice matches, can never really compare with competitive matches, and therefore however much as you practice, as Khanna sir said, however much you practice, however many practice matches you play amongst yourselves, however much you train in the gym, when you finally go out to walk, when you walk out to bat at, say, the Sydney cricket ground in front of, whatever, 25, 30, 40,000 fans now, it is a different thing altogether. It is a completely different thing. And that pressure, that pressure of playing for India against Australia, that is completely different of playing between, say, Ravi Shastri's 11 and Virat Kohli's 11 in a practice match. So that made a huge difference. Coming to Rohit Sharma's injury, now I am not really privy to what exactly happened there, but I'm sure what he did was that he felt comfortable enough to play the IPL final because, again, a T20 match is a completely different situation compared to a 50-over match or a test match. It calls for different levels of physical fitness. So what you can do, like a bowler, like say Hardik Pandya bowled 4 overs that day in the second one-day international. Now, in a T20 match, you can bowl 4 overs. That's the maximum number of overs that you can bowl in a T20. But in a one-day match, in a 50-over match, you need to bowl 10 overs. That's your quota. Or if you're bowling in a test match and you're a bowler, you may need to bowl 30, 35, 40 overs also sometimes, depending on what the situation is. So the difference between bowling 4 overs or 2 overs in a T20 game and bowling 40 overs in a test match or even 10 overs in a ODI, it calls for a different level of fitness. It calls for a different level of preparation mentally, physically.
But sorry, Wing Commander, but he was not available even for T20.
Yeah, but he came back for the final. That's what I'm saying. So he probably felt fit enough to play a T20 because the requirement even of batting in a T20, you would not bat for more than 10 overs or 12 overs.
Then that is my question. Then why he's not joined this squad of our cricket team of our T20 matches, which we are going to play now from today onwards? He's not in that squad. He's only for if he will be fit, he will go for the test.
I am not really sure what happened there, but what I read in the media was that his father was not well. So he had to come back to India to attend to that problem as well. And therefore, he could not probably join the team when it went to Australia.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure as to what exactly happened on this. But
and what about the itinerary you will say? We should have fixed up the T20 first and then the ODI and then the test match?
Probably yes, but I don't know how much of a difference that would have really made again, because, as I said, the requirements are different for different this thing. We were coming off a T20 tournament, but again, as I said in my earlier this thing, we had not played together as a team. So even if we had played the T20 there, you had played T20s as RCB or as Delhi Capitals or as Mumbai Indians, but you had not played as Indian. So as India, you were playing with a different set of teammates. So again, I'm not too sure whether that would have made a difference in the final result. So it doesn't really matter. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. But yes, when we played the ODIs, it was very clear that our batsmen were probably still in their T20 mode. And it took them a little time to settle in, as were the bowlers. Because again, the requirements of bowling in a T20 and in a ODI or in a test match are completely different. So it took them that little bit of time to settle down. But now that they've settled down, they've won a match. As I said, we probably now go into the T20 series as favorites.
Last segment, not last segment, the next segment. And now past is past. We want your experts' opinions for today's match. Mr. Khanna, because match is going to start, say about 2 hours from now, and we want to know from you what is going to happen, how you think the toss will play a important role in this T20 or not, which player you think we have to rely more, and who is going to play first, and what is your predictions and what you feel, because you are not, it's not you are not an astrologer, but you are predicting on your own experience of the cricket. Mr. Surendra Khanna, please.
Lal Sahab, it's very important first to know what are the conditions, how is the weather. So I don't know anything sitting at USI Residency Resort in Delhi, Vasant Vihar. What is the situation over there in Canberra at the ground, Monaco Oval? So if I know about the wicket and the conditions, how is the weather, whether it is very hot or did it rain yesterday, there could be some moisture in the air. But normally in T20, whether you bat first or second, you got to play good cricket. I mean, one-day cricket or any kind of cricket. As a cricketer from the old school, I was always taught that look at the wicket, think 2-3 times. If you win the toss, look at the wicket, might think about fielding first, but then end of the day, bat first. So I was always advocate for batting first. I was an opener and a wicket keeper. Whichever way, either way, I will be in the middle, in the thick of things. If we are fielding, I'll be keeping wickets. And being an opener, if we are batting first, I'm opening the batting. So as the captain of my club team or my office, Steel Authority of India Limited, Sonnet Club, Rohtog Road Gymkhana, Subania Club, South Delhi Club, whichever team, NIS, whichever team I played for, I was very lucky that I was the leader like you here. You are the captain of our program. So I always believed in batting first because I used to travel in 3 buses to the ground with a big bag on my shoulder. बसों में धक्के खाते हुए जाते थे, कहीं पे पैदल जाते थे, कहीं पे. Life was tough in our times. So मेरा मानना था कि भाई 1.5-2 घंटे सुबह 5 बजे उठ के मुद्रिका सेवा पकड़ी, फिर आगे चेंज की. गाजियाबाद खेलने जा रहे हैं तो पहले रेलवे स्टेशन जाओ, फिर वहां से ट्रेन पकड़ो, फिर वहां उतरो, फिर रेलवे लाइन के साथ साथ जो है MMH कॉलेज गाजियाबाद पहुंचो. तो जाते ही वार्म अप होते थे हम, सीधा टॉस जीते, पहले बैटिंग जी, पहले बारी. So I have always advocated that, but different people have different views about that. Yes, if I have Kapil Dev in my team, Glenn McGrath, Michael Holding, and there is grass or moisture on the pitch, then I can field first also, because my wicket keeping में भी 5 catch ले सकता हूँ फिर. So I had the option to field first as well, but 99.99999%, 100%, I batted first in my career wherever I played. Whether you bat second, you have to play the same bowler. तो बेहतर है कि fresh pitch के ऊपर you play first and put runs on the board and then put the opposition under pressure. And the way I look at things, the momentum Indian team has gained will help them. But what 11 is going to play? Because there are few changes in the T20 team. Specialist T20 players will get an opportunity. So start, whether it is test match cricket, whether it is one-day cricket or T20 cricket. You bowl first, your seamers need to deliver, either pick a wicket or bowl, not concede too many runs. When you bat first, the opening partnership needs to give you a good platform where the other batsmen come and put a big score on the board. So the circle is there. To take advantage of that, you need to stay there. Your best batsman, I mean, if I can make it easy for the listeners and watchers of our live program, and they might play club cricket or some kind of cricket, that your best batsman, it is 120 balls legitimate, 20 overs. So your first 5 batsmen, if they bat these 120 balls, you'll put a very good score on the board. That's how you should try and do that. And your bowlers can then defend the score, because if your first 5 batsmen only bat or only 1 or 2 wickets fall or 3 wickets fall, you'll score 200 plus on the board, which your bowlers and fielders can defend then by bowling sensibly and fielding well. All the 3 departments you have to excel, because the Australians in their den are a very, very difficult team to beat. And last time, Kohli's team defeated them. They want to avenge that. They are wounded tigers, you know. So we'll have to be at our best. We need to be very, very alert and careful and match their body language with body language, their comments, staying in discipline with the comments, and with your cricket, let your bat and ball do the talking.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Khanna, for giving your views. Now I will go to Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, and my same question to you is, what is your take for today's T20 in the present circumstances, and how you think, Mr. Surendra Khanna has said that he will prefer the first batting because he believe in that. But although a caveat he has put that the circumstance and the environment there. But what is your take, Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, please?
I completely agree with what Khanna sir was saying. It's always good to bat first and put up a total on the board. And if you can put up a big total, preferably, the opposition is under pressure, and it becomes a a much easier game for you to win in those circumstances, as was demonstrated in that third ODI. The difference between the first two ODIs and the third ODI was huge, just because the Australian team was batting second and they were under pressure. So it always makes sense, unless the wicket is wet, as he mentioned, unless the wicket is wet or there's grass on it and there's there's fog or mist or something where the ball is really moving around. Unless it's circumstances like that, if you have a sunny day, you have a flat batting wicket, which is usually what happens in a T20. You have good batting wickets. If it's a sunny day, it always makes sense to bat first. And like he said again, if your first 5 or 6 batsmen can put up a total on the board which is somewhere close to 200, if not in excess of that, you are on a great wicket to go on to a win. So that is what I would also like to see happening today. That if India are lucky with the toss once again, they ideally speaking, I don't know. I'm also not really aware of what the conditions are there out there in Canberra today. But then, ideally, if it is a good wicket, if it's sunny weather, it would make sense to bat first. And with the confidence that we've gained from the last ODI, go on from that, flow on from there, and put up a big total on the board. Like the BCCI president Saurav Ganguly had said before the tour, when he was asked who's going to win, he said whichever side puts runs on the board will win. So that's a very sensible, simple answer to that question. That cricket is all about putting a big total on the board, putting the other side under pressure, and your bowlers then exploiting those circumstances, and your fielders, obviously, because fielding is such a hugely important part of T20s, and those half chances which you take or the boundaries which you save, that they make a huge difference to the result in the end. And if you look at that catch which of Virat Kohli in the second ODI, when he and Rahul were batting together, and they were about I think they were about 10, 12 overs to go, and they needed about 140 runs, and they'd already put on 72 runs or so for that partnership between these two players, and they were going well. Now, if they were allowed to have, if they could have batted together for another 10 overs, who knows? We might have won that second ODI as well. But what actually happened was that Virat Kohli played a shot towards mid-wicket a little uppishly. And Henriquez, he was fielding there. And he just simply launched himself in the air and took a catch in mid-air while he was horizontal to the ground. And he took it with both hands, which is amazing. I mean, normally in such circumstances, you take catches in one hand. But he was able to, like a soccer goalkeeper, he was able to fly through the air. And while he was still airborne, horizontal, parallel to the ground, he was able to get both hands to that ball.
It was
and
on his left.
catch. It was on his left, yes. It was on his left, which is
He's
always
a
difficult.
right-hander.
Yes, so it's always difficult for a right-hander to go for a catch on the left. And he made that catch. And that was, in my opinion, that was probably not even a half chance. It was probably a quarter chance. And he converted that into a catch. And because of that wicket, Kohli had to go at that point of time, and the Indian team lost that match. So that is the same thing which would hold good in T20s also. If you can convert your chances, if you can take your half chances, if you can prevent boundaries, make a four, turn up a boundary into a 2 or a 1 or something like that. Those are the things that finally win you a match. So those things, we should not become complacent from the victory that we had in the last match. We should take that confidence. We should go forward with that confidence, but we should not become complacent. And as Khanna sir said, Aussies in their own den, they're inherently aggressive cricketers, and in their own backyard, they're a completely different side altogether. So we cannot take them lightly. And as I have been saying, we probably have an advantage in T20s, which should be able to capitalize on. And preferably, ideally, if we could bat first today and put a big total on the board, I think we should be on a good wicket. And the fielders and the bowlers would then need to deliver.
Okay, thank you very much, Wing
Lal sir,
Commander.
before
Yeah.
you bola googly, I would like to add to my previous this thing and Wing Commander's knowledge of reading the game well. Since we don't have the facility to know how the weather is and how the ground conditions in the evening, whether there will be dew factor or something like that. So these sometimes external factors also make the captain change their decision according to the ground environment and the conditions. These days, T20s and one days are played day and night matches, so moisture and it's very rare until and unless it rains. So the wickets are pretty flat these days. So most of the teams win and bat first, you know. So I just wanted to add this before you fire another salvo.
First of all, I will like to inform you, Mr. Khanna, that I am not a bowler. I will not say, throw a googly to you, and
Well, it's a
especially
Navy day. You might fire something else.
Thank you for the compliments. Now, my question to you is: there is a choice because now the 16 team has already been announced, squared. Now, if we will go talk about the bowlers, because the bowling department was, as everybody said, that it was not up to that mark, and now we have a choice between Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Navdeep Saini. Now, are we going to have two of them, all of three of them? Then we have the choice of Chahar. We have this one, Chahal is also there. So how many bowler you think they are going to take in this T20 this time?
I think in T20s, the captain and the coach go for all-rounders because 120 balls, like I said, you require people even at number 9 and 10 to hit the ball out of the park as well. So if Ravi and Virat has the luxury of having such players who can contribute with the bat, they will have the advantage of coming into the 11 and who are fit 100%. That's another thing. And since I don't have access to all that, it'll be very difficult for me. But generalized, I'll tell you, if I have to pick the best 11, I look at the wicket and the fitness and the opposition. Last game, we won the match. I would reward that team to continue and play in the first T20.
Because we have three all-rounders, Pandya, Jadeja and Sundar, Washington Sundar. So we are going to take all the three of them in this team, or we will take only two of them?
Like I said, Washington Sundar is a youngster, and I haven't seen him bat much in the last 1 year or so. Whenever he got an opportunity in the IPL games, once he was promoted ahead of De Villiers. De Villiers came number 6 for his club team, and Washington Sundar came number 3. So, well, the coach in a club team has different confidence, like Vijay Shankar also at one point in the World Cup played number 3 and had never played number 3 for his state or any club side. So certain things happen. Once the 15 or 16 are there for the captain and coach to select, they'll go for the best, seeing the conditions, seeing the wicket and the Australian opposition for T20s.
Okay. Mr. Ghosh, Wing Commander Ghosh, about the batsmen now. The batsmen are Shikhar Dhawan, Mayank Agarwal, KL Rahul, and Sanju Samson, apart from definitely the captain, Kohli, and Shreyas Iyer. Now, what you say about the batsmen? We said we have a very class batsman, no doubt about it. To select, as Mr. Khanna rightly said, we have a good team. Now, to select 11 is also not an easy task for the captain and the coach. But as Mr. Khanna mentioned about the circumstances, the environment and the temperature and the pitch condition, but what you say if you have to select the team?
I think, if I may agree with what Khanna sir said, having won the last match, I would try and retain as much of that 11 as I can in the T20. I mean, everyone who is in the T20 squad, I would like to see them playing today, for the simple reason that they have played the last match, they have the confidence of having won the last match, having done well in the last match, and they should go into this match with that confidence, which was just of a match which they played just 2 days ago on the same venue, mind you, probably the same wicket as well. It might be the same wicket, it might be a different strip, but it would be generally the same conditions. So out of the last ODI 11, uh, I think about 8 or 9 of them are in the T20 squad as well. So they, in my opinion, automatically select themselves for the T20. You'd only be left with 1 or 2 places where you may need, if you wish, you may need to bring in a new face, or you may need to make a change. But yes, as far as the all-rounders are concerned, I think Jadeja did a great job in the last match. Pandya did a great job in the last match. So obviously they would retain their places, although Pandya has not really been bowling, although he did bowl in the second ODI. Uh, and So the all-rounders place would be, going to those players, in my opinion, again. And as far as the spinners, the pure spinners are concerned, there's only Yuzvendra Chahal who's there in the team as a spinner in the T20 squad. So he probably gets an automatic selection into the 11. So he and Jadeja, they would be the spinners today for us mainly. And as far as the medium pacers, you mentioned Navdeep Saini, and I think Natarajan bowled well in the last match. He got 2 wickets, and although he went for almost 70 plus runs, but I think he probably also deserves a chance in the first T20 to establish his credentials. As far as the batsmen are concerned, as I said, most of the batsmen who played in the last ODI are there in the T20 squad as well. So they will automatically select themselves. There could be a clash between Mayank Agarwal, Manish Pandey, and between these 2 people. So that would be a toss-up, because in my opinion, both of them are equally good players. So Mayank Agarwal has the advantage of having played in these last 2 ODIs. So maybe
Okay.
that might go in his favor.
Okay, thank you, Wing Commander Ghosh. Now, Surendra Khanna ji, Chak de India, your message to the players and to the public at large about this Chak de India. 1 minute only for you. What message you want to give so that today we are going to win this match?
I think captain to lead from the front. He has scored in the last game 12,000 runs he completed in the one-day format, and the team complemented that 12,000 runs by giving him a victory as well. Sometimes you have the landmark, but you finish on the losing side, तो उसका मजा नहीं आता है. So I think the team did a great job by winning when the captain scored his 12,000 run for India in the one day, and he leads from the front like he has been scoring, and he gets a good start. I'm sure he'll pump some oxygen into the boys, and his energy should rub on to the other players, and they should feel confident of doing well and winning the game for India. So we are all backing them. I'm looking forward to. I'm a neutral man. I want to see good cricket. End of the day. Okay. And of course, I want India to win as well, Lal sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Khanna, for giving your views. Wing Commander Ghosh, Chak de India moment for you. Now, your message to the team and the public at large.
Absolutely. Just hang on to that momentum that you gained in the last match. That just carry on with that high, that mental high of having won a match. Take that into this game, and just do your best. That would be my message. And I'm sure, as Khanna sir also said, it would be great for the captain to lead from the front, because that brings a different flavor altogether to the game.
Okay, so now because now the time is such that it is only about 1.5 hours or a quarter to 2 hours when the match is going to start. But yes, the Chak de moment is there. And so today you have seen that both the experts have the view and opinion that we have a very, very good team. We have a very good captain also. Unnecessary criticism also demoralize. So please, viewers, try to keep faith. After all, they won the third ODI in the same circumstances, in the same country, against the same players. So we have to be positive, and I'm sure that now with their experience and with the now they have already became habitual of the conditions of the Australia. They are going to win, and we will proudly say Chak De India. Thank you very much. And today's program, which has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Saroka News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And tomorrow, current discussion, hot discussion, controversial topic, and that is media conference with Lal Goel on farmers' agitation. As you all know, the farmers' agitation is on, and they have already in the Delhi, surrounding the Delhi, and they are in that chilling temperature. The farmers are there. So we would like to discuss whether the farmers' demands are justified, whether what the government is doing is correct or not, and what are the views of the experts who are the experts in this field. And my panelists are Professor Dr. Sudhir Sharan, former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas at Dallas, USA. Kunwar Naren Singh, Director, Nayati Pharma Private Limited, renowned social work and political leader, Mathura. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, Mathura. And Mr. Parmatmanand Pandey, farmer and founder president, Utho Jago Foundation, Balia. So please tune in tomorrow for the program that is media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, our legend, Mr. Surendra Khanna, and thank you very much, Wing Commander.
Thank you very much for having me, Lal Saab. It's always a
Thank you very
pleasure to
much.
be with
Thank
you
you.
on the program, and Wing Commander.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Thank you very much, Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, for
Thank you so
joining
much.
us. And thank you all the viewers for listening today's. And we not only hope, but we are sure that the Chak De movement has to come, and we can proudly say today, Chak De India. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.